Oakley Scott Corporation, and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
It's a Monday edition of Running Point. Anthony Hartwig here with Ty Bartell, and we had a very exciting weekend, Ty, and I know we're pumped for a big Monday afternoon Running Point. First time we're in a new time slot, 12 to 2. We are with you, casual sports podcast after us from 2 to 3. We'll talk a little bit more about that show and what to expect later. But Ty, how was your weekend? Nope, muted, bud. Still muted. And while Ty figures out his audio issues, as we can't hear him right now, and we continue our recap of the Friday, and we just lost Ty, so we continue our recap of the Friday. What a great Friday night football it was in week 4. A lot of big wins, a lot of games that went down to the wire as DJ Oakley comes on here in the studio with me. What an exciting week 4. A lot of huge matchups and matchups that didn't disappoint.
Yeah, I mean, you look at across the board, Ant. I mean, that Ursuline-Fitch game, unbelievable. I mean, it came down to the last kick. I'm sure you guys are going to talk about it because big game was there.
Right.
Beaver local. I got to support the Beavers today because at the end of the day, I think everybody kind of raised their eyebrow of what just happened between Beaver local and East Liverpool. So that was a game I thought was really interesting. The Louisville-Springfield game, I thought everybody felt like it was going to be a barn burner, and the only barns that were burning were the ones that Springfield were lighting because that offense is still fire.
You know what? I feel like if that game was in week 2, it would have been competitive. But week 3, it looked like Springfield figured whatever they had to figure out.
Yeah.
And they hit the ground running in Geneva, and you could kind of see the writings on the wall that the old Springfield was back.
Yeah. Leetonia got to debut their brand new turf, and they debuted their 2021 season as well against the Bulldogs. They did well. So a lot of teams you just looked at, and you know, as we look over to the board, there is a ton of teams out there. Boardman was impressive, but on the other side of that field, Howland was impressive. You know, and South Range just keeps on being South Range.
How about Jefferson? Did they earn some respect in a losing effort?
Huge. I actually pulled the Jefferson versus Niles card this week. So Siggy and I will be going there, and I can't tell you, I'm excited.
Down 28-7, they come all the way back, take the 34-28 lead. Props to Gerard for making the play when they had to make it, 35-34. But, man, Jefferson went into that game wanting respect in the 88. I think they got it.
We got some construction going on next door. I don't know if they can hear it or not. But West Branch deserves some props too. I mean, can anybody stop them? Can anybody stop West Branch? Salem's in the same boat.
We're heading for a collision course.
Salem, I can't wait. I mean, and you know we're going to be there for the game, obviously, but I think it's on a Saturday, so it means that we can probably do some special things with a prime time or something like that live from the event.
You know who else is on a collision course, and it's also week 10. I believe both those matchups are week 10. Hubbard South Range, because Hubbard, a comeback victory over Poland.
I mean, when you look at Poland, and we asked this question to a couple people on Friday night? Was it more of Poland kind of taking the foot off the gas, or was it Hubbard just hanging around enough? And the credit goes to Hubbard. You can never take it away from kids. And you, obviously, from what we do, we never want to sit there and point the finger. How do you not sit there and feel good about Hubbard with one of the best games in the history of Hubbard Memorial Stadium?
Well, Hubbard made some really great halftime adjustments. We'll go over that. We have interviews with Brian Hoffman queued up that Anthony Romo did a great job with. And he caught up with TC Caffey after the game too. What a great game for that kid. He's having a great season. We're going to hear from him thanks to Anthony Romo. And we're also going to break down that Fitch 2-point conversion because what a big play. It's going to be dissected all season.
Yeah, I got a dissection for you. There's 12 guys on the field
Well,
first.
yeah, we're going to break that.
Hard to dissect that. I mean, what do you do? It's 12 on 11. I mean, I can't believe that nobody threw the flag or at least if you're Fitch, pointed out. Right. You know, hey, ref, there's an extra guy out there.
Count the white helmets.
12 guys. 12 guys. But
Ty,
I mean,
Ty, do you have your audio fixed, bud?
Yeah, we're all good now. We got everything all situated. We're figured out now. So,
DJ, you got to be in the hot seat during the audible call. You got to see all these games. If you had to just generalize a takeaway from week 4 before we let you go do your CEO duties, what was kind of your general takeaway of week 4, getting to take it all in?
It was fun. I think that was the coolest part about it is usually I get to see one game and be a spectator for audible call. It was fun to be in here. It was fun to be able to watch all the games. We had 84 touchdowns?
Yeah, 84
on Friday. I mean, if that doesn't get your blood pumping, I don't know what does. That was a lot of fun, and it was good to see the amount of talent that we have in this area on display in 3 hours. It was just bang, 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 bang. Every single, I felt like, I mean, you break it down, that's what, almost 30 touchdowns an hour for us. That's phenomenal. I was trying to do the highlights. I tried to do like a highlight segment last night, which we're going to debut tomorrow, of all the touchdowns from audible call. I was exhausted by the time I'm sitting there. I'm like, well, this was work. This was work. But, you know, being able to sit where you are in the gunner chair, man, it was fun. It was, you know, Mike kept me on my toes, and Siggy was killing it over there, you know, calling out the games and kind of taking the administration from you guys. You guys were saying, hey, we got one here, and he had 3 computers going bam, 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 bam. It was everywhere. So it was fun. But this is a fun area for football, man. There's nothing you can do or say to take away that.
Absolutely not. And we got Ty back, so
see ya.
We want to let you go do the rest of your jobs as we get Ty back. And Ty, as you come into the fold, you got to take in a lot of week 4 action as well. And me and DJ kind of just skated over a lot of it. What was kind of some of your takeaways?
I mean, we had those 5 big games that we were previewing, and I mean, those all lived up to everything that we expected them to be, and more. There was other big games as well, and those.
Look at Billy.
Yeah.
I mean,
as DJ was saying too, it was 12 versus 11 though. So let's be real. But okay. But no, that was there was a lot of good matchups though this week, and we had some underground matchups. That Jefferson and Gerard matchup lived up to everything that was supposed to be as well. I think Garfield and LeBray was a big game as well. Beaver local, what a surprise that was too, over East Liverpool, absolutely taking it to their rivals. I mean, we know obviously what Fitch and Ursuline did too, and what easily could be game of the year. I would definitely think you could put that up game of the year wise. It's definitely up there with some of the better games that we've seen so far early in this season, and there's a lot of great matchups coming up.
Look at Billy saying you play to win the game, so he doesn't care. 12 guys doesn't bother him one bit.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Well, you know, we have a lot to talk about. We're gonna bring up that 2-point conversion and kind of break down, because that play got a lot of talk. The play call, the decision, and we're gonna look at it, and we have the ability to pause it and rewind it and break down that play. You got to call it. From your perspective, I love the decision to go for 2-point conversion there. don't you?
Well, especially too, you want to take injuries out of the game. It's already been a hard fought game up to that point. They already had DJ Williams go down, one of their feature backs, getting injured previous to that play. So Fitch was in a situation they don't want to injure any more guys going forward in the season. Still early on in the season, and it was a case whether or not. And really, Fitch, and that's why when I was asked that night who I thought needed the win more, I think Fitch proved that they didn't need the win as much as Ursuline needed the win, because Fitch willing to go for 2, putting it all on the line right there. They could have easily gone with the tie with Josiah Burnett that was perfect up until that point in extra point attempts and field goal attempts. So, I mean, they could have easily gone for the tie. I think they wanted to keep injuries out of the game because there was the kids were getting banged up. The defenses were out there a long time each a piece. A lot of those kids, both two-way players, they just wanted to get that game over with, I think, by the end of it.
And actually, correct me if I'm wrong, DJ Williams got banged up in that drive, like earlier in that drive.
Like that exact drive, I think, yeah, right before they ended up scoring, he got injured.
But like they have a great back room, so Mitchell was just as good, and we'll bring up that play. He was a big member of that play and a big reason why I think it was actually a good play call, well-designed play. Let's just bring it up. Ty, you called the game, set the scene. Ursuline scores. There wasn't too much time left, right? Like 20 seconds. Fitch scores a touchdown, and just set up this play real quick.
Yeah, so, I mean, Fitch was coming off of a drive. They're down 48-41. They have a little bit over a minute, or a little bit under 2 minutes, like a minute 50-something seconds to go into a 2-minute offense. They get themselves down into red zone territory. I believe that at this point, it is either first or second and goal, and there is about 36, 38 seconds left on the clock, I believe, or maybe a little bit more than that. But I mean, there's a sequence here of in less than a minute of game clock action where there is a 2-point conversion attempt that could decide the game, an onside kick attempt, and a field goal attempt, all within the last few seconds. And it is just one of the craziest final minutes of football you'll see.
Yeah, we're gonna look at the 2-point conversion real quick, and I'm just gonna play it through the first time, and then we'll kind of break down the play as it goes along. So let's just watch it all the way through first. So there it is. Devin Sherwood tries to escape. At that point, he's just trying to pull, the quarterbacks that you see nowadays make a good throw on the run, and it just goes out of the back of the end zone, and he can't quite finish that play. So now let's rewind it and pause it. Obviously, DJ brought it up. You can't see it in our camera angle, but there are 5 guys on the line, 3 guys up here. That's 8, 9, and then there's like 3 more out wide for Ursuline. So there are 12 men on the field. You can't do anything about it. It's a moot point at this point. That's done. Ty, when you look at this play call, a lot of people are saying you've been running up and down Ursuline's defense all night. Why aren't you running? But when you look at it, Ty, Ursuline's got 8 people in the box. They are expecting run, don't you think? Ty, either. Okay, so Ursuline's got 8 in the box here, and you look at it, and let's look at this play design. Fitch has 3 out wide, 1 up here. You look at Ursuline's defenders, they're kind of stacked towards the right side of the field. This is a really good design because all you have to do, you bring this receiver that's out wide to the left, you run him across the field, and then you take Mitchell in the backfield, run him out to the flat, and you look at this design, Ty, and look at Mitchell come wide open right here on the deposit. Obviously, Sherwood's under pressure, but look at his eyes. He's right there. And you got to think on this play, Sherwood throws it up into the flat out here. Good chance that Mitchell can run it down for the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, I mean, easily too, and I mean, I don't know why he didn't necessarily go to Mitchell too, because Mitchell was actually one of the hot targets, and the whole night it was Mitchell and Donnie Ellis that were getting most of the looks from Sherwood, and it would have been a situation too with the speed of Tyree Mitchell. Not to mention, Ursuline was having trouble the entire night tackling both Tyree Mitchell and DJ Williams, and so much so that you saw them all doing push-ups Dan Reardon had him do push-ups even after the win because of the defense having trouble tackling those backs. So I think in that situation, getting it to Mitchell in that flat would have given him an opportunity too, with open space and the trouble Ursuline had even tackling the backs of Fitch. They could have had an easy attempt at the 2-point there, and I'm not sure why Sherwood didn't go to Mitchell in that situation.
And here's something I want to point out, and it might be a key to why he didn't. Take a look at when he gets this snap, where his eyes go immediately. He's looking to the right of the field. So I think this play was designed because they had that stack formation to get someone open on the right side of the end zone against that defense. So I think Mitchell was probably a check down, and props to Ursuline's defense because they got to Sherwood pretty quick. But by now he's already, his eyes have already progressed to the left side. So he's already looking over here, maybe checking if his receiver out wide to the left is open. He's well covered. Once again, a great design because once I don't know who was out wide, but this receiver out wide to the left, once he runs across the end zone, he takes his defender with him, and no one is there to cover Mitchell out of the flat. But once again, props to Ursuline's defense. You see him there. They make sure would make a split decision, and he decides that it's better to try to make a play with his feet, obviously. As you see him escape, he does escape this sack, and he's still got a chance here, but by then it's a broken play, and Sherwood just has to try to make an athletic play, and he can't. But, you look at the play design, I think the play design was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, the play design was perfect, and I mean, you got to address the elephant in the room of 12 men on the field compared to 11 too, because even in a play broken up, Fitch is still very good at creating offense even with broken plays, and so is Devin Sherwood. He's an incredible improviser, but when there's more coverage than there is weapons on the field, it becomes a hassle then to try to create any sort of offense. And by that point, Ursuline, you got to hand it to them, and you got to hand it to that defensive line. I mean, breaking through and creating the pressure immediately. Sherwood was able to improvise himself out of it, but like you said, Anthony, by that time the receivers were already covered up.
Yeah, and you look, and people are going to be saying, why isn't Fitch running the ball? But Ursuline's got 8 in the box. I mean, they are 5 on the line, 3 right here. They're pretty much ready for a run. And you look at the way they progressed. I mean, they run to the right. This is all clogged up. Maybe a draw play could have gotten up the middle. You see the gap right here. But, I think it was designed initially to try to get someone open on that stack formation. You see Sherwood looking to the right, and then his next progression is looking over to the left, and right there you see it. You see the opportunity there, and he's going to watch film and realize that he maybe gave up on that play a little bit too quick, and that's going to be something that he's going to grow on, and that's why film and breaking down film is so important. You got to tip that to Ursuline's defense for making him make a split decision, and you move on. But I want to just take the time because, of course, the decision and the play call in that situation is going to be picked apart. So I wanted to give a little bit of props to TJ Parker for really drawing up a play that design wise really worked. You just got to give props to the Ursuline defense.
Yeah, and you know what? It also didn't help, too, that DJ Williams was out, because usually in those short and goal situations, DJ Williams is those guys where if you have a stacked box, he's a bigger type of back. So he's that type of guy that you're going to run right up the middle for those draw plays because he could bang around with those guys, and he was really creating all sorts of fits for Ursuline's defense trying to tackle him the entire night. And not having that threat kind of took away that run option, I think, of utilizing a draw play, because as good as Tyree Mitchell is, he's much better on the outside run attempts. And when he gets outside of the initial line and when he can get to the edges of the field and create things with his legs and his elusiveness is where he ultimately shines. But not having that guy that's really good in those short and goal scenarios really took that run option out of Fitch's playbook. And really, I think Ursuline knew defend the run, but they knew a pass was coming, I think, at that time.
And we've talked about that play, but let's also give a shout out to DeMarcus McElroy. I mean, what a performance this kid put up on the Falcons. The other running back for Ursuline, run 353 yards, I think, 4 touchdowns, something like that. What a night for an Ursuline offense that is known to pass the ball. They kind of showed people on Friday night you can't sleep on their running back either.
Yeah, and his mom actually came up to us too before the game and was saying she was hoping he was going to have a good game, and I said I had a feeling he might too. And he's been generating a little bit of noise, but he's been waiting for that breakout game, and boy oh boy was it a breakout game as ever before. And as good as Fitch's defense is too, especially in the defensive line unit, I mean, creating Fitch, and you got to give a handout too to Ursuline's offensive line doing a great job all night long, creating space for DeMarcus to ultimately have those big gaping holes to run through the entire night. And the opportunity to create those holes also created more offense for Ursuline overall. And it helped in the pass game as well when they utilized the play action and threw it over top.
Instant classic in Austintown. And after that 2-point conversion, of course, if you missed it, Fitch recovered an onside kick, went down, was set up for a 43-yard field goal, 43, 44, somewhere around there, right? I think a 43-yard field goal. It gets blocked, and that's the end of the game. But instant classic in Austintown. Ty, let's move on from that game because we had another really good one go down in Hubbard with Poland and Hubbard, and you talk about that game, and I think we're going to lose Ty a little bit. But you talk about that game, and Hubbard found themselves in a hole. It was 23-6, and they made some halftime adjustments, and they came back really strong in that one to get the 27-23 win. Our own Anthony Romo caught up with as we're going to two different ties. I had to get you on and get you off. You there now? We fixed. Nope, Ty's still gone. So we'll go to Anthony Rowe. You there?
Because I'm fucking going off of a fucking phone.
We'll go to Anthony Romo catching up with Brian Hoffman after Hubbard's big comeback win over Poland.
Anthony Romo here with Coach Brian Hoffman of the Hubbard Eagles after their come-from-behind win over Poland here tonight. Coach, what did you tell these guys at half to give them that spark to come out in the second half?
I'll be honest with you, at halftime, we were pretty focused at halftime. I mean, we came in, they were focused on listening to what we had to say. Defensively, we had made some adjustments for the second half. And offensively, there were some plays to be made that we were able to kind of talk them through. But they were real focused. I mean, upbeat. I don't think anybody came in the locker room, not believing that we could come out and get it done in the second half.
Was a packed house here tonight at Hubbard Memorial Stadium. How much of an effect does the crowd play on this team when they're out on the field?
So much. People don't. I mean, I hope fans understand, and we appreciate them being here tonight. Tremendous crowd. The energy that they brought to the game tonight really inspired us at times, especially there was a lot of big down and distances out there, and that energy from the crowd, I think, really helped us in the third and fourth quarter.
As the coach here at Hubbard, your teams have played in some big games against the Poland Bulldogs. Where does this game rank up there?
Way up there. I mean, it's got to be one of the greatest ones, especially where we were at halftime, down 23-6. I mean, this is a true testament of character. Down 23-6, they could have pulled a 10, but now they believed it. It's a pretty tight group, and they lean on one another, and it showed tonight.
Coach Hoffman, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So that was Coach Brian Hoffman as we get ourselves back after Hubbard's big comeback win over Poland. And Ty, when we talk about that game, we both talked about it on Friday. It was going to be a war in the trenches. It was going to be a battle between a really good defense and really good offense. And Hubbard found themselves in another hole. And instead of saying, oh, here we go again, we're going to get beat by Poland, what a comeback.
Yeah, and I think someone needs to wear a TC Caffey shirt now because Poland fell to the Hubbard Eagles. Like I said, they were finally going to get their win. And, yeah, beat Mooney now. beat Poland. This is a Hubbard team now that has raised a lot of eyes, especially now in the NE8, beating a big significant team like the Poland Bulldogs.
I am a man of my words, so if anyone in Hubbard Nation gets me a Hubbard shirt or a Hubbard memorabilia or whatever it may be, I will make sure to rock it because I picked against you guys and Ty threw it out there, and I will absolutely support Hubbard. And if anyone's able to get me some Hubbard stuff, absolutely, I'll rock that Blue Eagle. Absolutely. I need to get that Eagle head.
You could do that too. Jamie Thompson has those connections for you. Maybe a whole show with the Eagle head on. Oh my God.
Yeah, I pulled out the headgear for Friday, but now I feel like people are expecting a big dramatic pick every week. I got to start to get creative a little bit every Friday night.
It has to be headgear too. Always has to be headgear. You got to keep it a theme with the headgear.
Does it? Does it have to always be?
It has to be something on your head somewhere. It has to be something. So we have to keep it within the head region.
All right. Well, we'll try. We'll definitely do our best. We have a fan question today, by the way, as we continue to talk about Friday night's games, because we had so many great finishes on Friday. We want to know from our fans and the people watching, what was the greatest high school football finish you've ever seen? So we want to hear from you. The comment section brought to you by Boardman Mitsubishi is live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, whatever platform you're working on. And let us know, what was the biggest high school football finish you've ever seen. Also, we want to know your takeaways from week 4. What was the best performance you saw in week 4? What were the best winners in week 4? And we want to hear from the fans' perspective as much as we like hearing ourselves talk. We want to hear from the people watching, what they thought of week 4, because it was a really good week.
Yeah, there were some really good matchups and some really great finishes, and that's what kind of prompts the question of what are some other great finishes through the years, because I could think of a few that I've seen in just recent memory, but there's got to be some that are up there. But I think this Ursuline Fitch one is one of the better finishes I've seen, and just the amount of things that occurred in the final minute. It's just so many ups and downs and drama. I mean, did not end until the last second.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Did it beat last year's Steubenville game against Fitch?
It did. It did beat it out. I mean, not the result, obviously, the Falcon Nation wanted, but I mean, it definitely was. It was a game of highs and lows. And for the Falcons, twice to have an opportunity to win in not only a field goal and a 2-point conversion, just goes to show how really how effective their offense and special teams unit is, and that you can never count this team out of any game, no matter how far down you think that you have them. They're always one play away from generating enough momentum to flip the whole script on you. And that's the beautiful thing with the Falcons. I mean, it just happened last year too. It was the Falcons were on the other side of it too. Steubenville going for a 2-point attempt, and Falcons were able to stop it. Nate Leskovac was there to stop it at that time. They were able to come away winners, but unfortunately not the case here. But still, all the excitement you could add. Just take that freaking 2-point conversion that Steubenville had in that whole scene, and then add in an onside kick recovery and a field goal attempt, another field goal attempt, a chance to win the game for the team. It was all the highs and lows you could expect from a high school football game.
It's crazy how history can repeat itself.
I mean, truly, from one season to the next, honestly. And I mean, the Falcons, like we said too, and like I said about Ursuline, and when you beat them, you make them stronger. You've made the Falcons stronger, I think, now. And I bet you any money Coach Parker's looking at the run defense now going forward, and he's sure as heck going to clean that up, I think, going forward.
And, speaking of history repeating itself, that is not happening in Hubbard. We go back to this Hubbard Poland game. They've already taken the history of Mooney and shoved it off their shoulders. The history of Poland has been well documented. They've had their number, shrugged that off their shoulders. And it is largely because of the work that the offensive line and TC Caffey are both doing for that team. What a season they're both putting together. And I say both because, obviously they're creating huge holes for him, and he can't do without the blocking. But he's also breaking some big tackles and getting some big yardage. So, man, they made some adjustments because, remember, we talked about what's it going to be like when TC Caffey and Christian Colosimo collide? Hubbard said at halftime, enough of that, because they started running it off the tackle and over the sides and really just ran away from Christian Colosimo. And then all of a sudden, that offense found a lot of production. Great halftime adjustment from Brian Hoffman.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to feel like it's your year now. If you're a Hubbard Eagle, you finally get those two legendary monkeys off of your back now over the last few years, too. To get that off your back and now to look forward and progress, I think the Hubbard Eagles are welcoming anybody in the NE8, including South Range right now.
That's a collision course, and it's going to be in week 10. And there are a couple of collision courses gearing up for that week. We're going to talk about another one. Both teams looking unstoppable. But first, before we get to there, let's hear from Mr. TC Caffey, because our own Anthony Romo caught up with him after the game, and what a game he had. Let's hear what he had to say after Hubbard's 27-23 win over Poland.
Anthony Romo here with TC Caffey. Tonight's YSN player of the game, 29 carries, 193 yards. After pulling off arguably the greatest comeback win in school history, TC, what's going through your mind right now?
Just feels amazing. That's it.
Being down 23-6 at the half, what did Coach Hoffman tell you guys in the locker room to give you a spark to come out in the second half like you did?
Just we ain't playing ourselves, and we need to get it up. That's it.
This team sitting at 4-0 right now, heading into the Struthers game. What makes this team so special compared to Hubbard teams of the past?
Brotherhood we have. We've been together since we're really little, pretty much.
TC Caffey, thank you for your time.
And what I really liked is that last question. You know, what makes this Hubbard team so special? And he brought up the fact that they've been together for so long, and they're a tight-knit group. We see that more than ever on Friday night, finding themselves down 23-6 at halftime. If you're not together as a team, you're not coming back from that. So I think TC Caffey's absolutely right. This team is working a lot more like a unit than we've ever seen them.
I love it, too, because he makes it so simplistic, too. And I almost want him to have a T-shirt with just the words "that's it" on it now, because, I mean, just that's it. It seems so simple in his interview and why they're so successful, but it really is. I mean, you break it down, bare bones simplistics. Everyone's got a job to do, and they're all doing their job, and he is excelling at it with great athleticism and just great football knowledge and IQ. I mean, it comes simple to him. So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's it.
That's it. I like that. If we get that shirt, I will definitely wear it. That's it. You know,
the TC Caffey shirt. That's it, man. That's it.
You know, I love it. I love it. We're gonna take a quick break. On the other end, we'll continue our recap of week 4 of high school football. And at 1:00, we'll be talking to TV 21 Sports Director Dana Ballish. Don't go anywhere. Monday edition of Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need, regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Welcome back to the Monday edition of Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig here with you alongside Ty Bartell. And we continue to kind of recap week 4. We talked about the big finish in Fitch and the exciting finish in Hubbard. Ty, Jefferson, we talked to Brandon Hanna last week. They wanted to get respect in the NE8 this week. The no moral victories in football, we know that. They lost 35-34. But I think they earned some really good respect in this league. Down 28-7, 27 unanswered points, go up 34-28, eventually lose 35-34 to Girard on the road. I think Jefferson continues to open some eyes.
I think so as well, and I think, you know what, their first taste of the NE8 with this team, they needed a game to get adjusted to the type of defense they needed to play, and they needed a half more or less, and they got that half, and they were able to adjust on defense. And I don't think Girard knew what hit him for a second, and Girard able to come away with the victory. But I think they know how serious of a contender Jefferson is, and I think they've definitely opened a lot of eyes remaining on the NE8 schedule, knowing that when they face these Jefferson Falcons, they're not going to be a pushover team like they've been in years past.
Grant Hitchcock had another great game for the Falcons, over 200 yards of total offense when you combine his passing yards and his rushing yards. But Michael Palmer, really, really good game for Girard. Want to give a shout out to him. 4 touchdowns on the night for him, and he scored the go-ahead touchdown when Girard really needed it the most. I mean, it was dire circumstances for Girard. And you look at that and, man, it's hard. You need to score. The other team has all the momentum. They've scored 27 unanswered. Girard puts together a great drive when they needed it the most. Michael Palmer steps up big for his team. And we're still having a couple of technical issues with Ty. But yeah, Michael Palmer, 4 touchdowns on the day for him. And he steps up big for his team. And, Gerard gets the win 35-34. We continue our breakdowns of the games in week 4 as we stay in the NE8. Niles, they got a big win over Lakeview 28-14, and this is a Niles team we had a lot of questions about coming into the season. Would they be able to rebound from losing someone like Zach Leonard? And it took them a week. They didn't score any points in week 1, but then they found out they have an identity in Antoine Gardner. And boy, is he ever an identity as well. He is running the ball ridiculously well for the Dragons. And he ran right past Lakeview. And Niles was able to get the 28-14 win over the Bulldogs, and thought we had Ty back, not yet. So when you have the Niles gets that win, now they go to Jefferson next week, and all of a sudden this is a big matchup between two teams trying to get more respect in the NE8. Antoine Gardner comes up. He's a great runner. Michael Palmer had a good day against Jefferson's defense. It's going to be a really fun game in Jefferson, I believe. With Niles and Jefferson squaring up in the NE8. Both teams 3-1, by the way. Both teams 3-1. So it'll be a big game in the standings as well. You stay in the NE8, you go to South Range, and boy, South Range just continues to be South Range. They had control of this game from the jump. Dylan Dominguez, 3 rushing touchdowns on the day, and Billy Squarepack also very impressive. The Raiders they look like they're on another level right now. 50-13. They win over Struthers. Just a big day from both sides of the ball. We talked about the collision course the teams are on. South Range and Hubbard play each other in week 10. And they both look like they're just rolling like a machine. And if they continue that, then my word, week 10 is going to be fun. Another teams that are on collision courses, we venture out of the NE8 because the NE8 is done. Look at West Branch and look at Salem. Both those teams look like they're just unstoppable. West Branch continues to shine with the matchups between Drew DeShields, Jackson Hendershot on the outside. That's a great connection for West Branch. Drew DeShields is having an incredible season for his first year under center. Just using his athletic ability and trusting it, and just having an amazing season. And then you look at Salem and what they were able to do to Akron Firestone, making that trip to Salem. Obviously, if they're making that trip, they think they can be competitive, but Salem said, no. We have Blaze X line, we have Jackson Johnson, and Salem ran away with that game really quick. And there was a play in that game, and if you saw it, it just shows you what an incredible athlete Blaze X-Line is. It was just a little bubble screen. And if you pause it right when he catches it, you go, man, Akron Firestone, they have an angle on him. This isn't going to be a big gain. And all Blaze does is just run. And all of a sudden that angle disappears in a snap. And all of a sudden, here comes Blaze X-Line with a big, big gain on a play that if you paused it and you looked at the film, you go, how did he get away from that? Like, there was no angle there to get. I don't know. Blaze X-Line continues to impress. Salem continues to impress. So does West Branch. And when they meet, that will be a really fun one to break down who has the advantage. They're on a collision course. Another big game that happened over the weekend. You look at some of the scores and highlights. How about Garfield? Garfield-LaBrea. That was one of the games that we talked about a lot on Friday. And I said it. And, I said in football, 9 times out of 10, the physical team wins. The more physical team wins. And you watch that game, and it was close. But eventually, the run and the physicality of Garfield and that big offensive line, Anthony Dema, it just wore down the LaBrea Vikings. LaBrea had a couple of chances early. They missed a couple of opportunities. and Garfield took advantage and really second half ran away with that game, 35-14. They get the win over LeBray. And you look at some of these stats. I think Anthony Dimma, because he's not in our local media's coverage map, he's in our coverage map because Garfield is a proud member of YSN, but he's not getting enough limelight in our area. And he should, because he's going to be playing a lot of area teams now that he's in the MVAC. 23 carries and 191 yards for him. You look at Garfield, their defense came up big in the moments that mattered. The only Vikings touchdown, in the second quarter, not the only touchdown of the game, but the one that tied up, 65-yard kickoff return. And after that, when it was tied at 14, Garfield's defense, which, you look a lot about their offense, you look at Anthony Dimma, and that gets a lot talked about, which it should, but their defense is going to be really hard to do anything against. Look how prolific LeBray's offense is, and they couldn't get anything going against Garfield in the second half. Garfield outscored them. What is that? 7, 14, 20. Yeah, 21. Oh, quick math. Once again, I am a Georgia Tech fan, obviously not an engineering or Georgia Tech student. Not the best at math. 21 unanswered points in the second half to win that game. Garfield sends a big statement to the MVAC too. They were 9-1 last year, and they lost to Crestview, by the way, in the playoffs. Don't forget that. That matchup's coming up quick. Not this week, though, as they continue their debut tour through the MVAC. Garfield will host Newton Falls next week, who is scuffling a little bit after starting off 2-0. LeBray, they are going to play Champion on Friday, and that all of a sudden becomes a really interesting matchup because Champion, although they were 0-2, 0-3 going into this week, looked very impressive against the Newton Falls team that was 2-1 and probably favored in that matchup. So Champion and LeBray, that might be an interesting game. Might be closer than people think. Champion really looked like they're putting things together in week 4. Staying in that league, Crestview, they rolled 47-7 over Camel, and their offense, maybe their best game of the year. You look at Anthony Cusick, he continues to pass well and efficient. 15 for 24, 237 yards, 3 touchdowns for him. Rockland Batura, who coming on the scene, Crestview lost a lot of their running attack from last season in that team that went to the regional semifinals and really competed with South Range for about a half of football. But Rockland Batura is getting better each and every week. And this week he continued to impress. He ran the ball hard. And you look at his stats, he ran for 148 yards on 13 carries. And he scored 3 touchdowns. So a great job from him. He was also Cusick's favorite target. Batura caught 5 passes, 75 yards, and caught 2 touchdowns. So count it up. That's 3 touchdowns on the ground for Batura and 2 through the air. He is a solid weapon for Crestview going forward. They're 2-2 on the year, and they got a big test with Liberty in week 5 coming up on Friday. And Liberty's a team had to kind of go on the fly. Their game got canceled on Thursday. They picked up Rootstown, and they lost that game. But, man, they were down 24-7 and made it 24-20 before the clock struck 0. So they gave a pretty good Rootstown team all they could handle. Camel, on the other hand, they're looking to bounce back. They will go to Brookfield on Friday. Scheduled now. Now, a reminder that Brookfield did lose their game this week. And the 2 interceptions as well, as we get the comment from Robert, and the comments brought to you by Boardman Mitsubishi. Of course, defense can't be understated as well. What a great day. But you look at Brookfield, that's scheduled, and we'll stay up to date with that because Brookfield had to cancel their game last week because of COVID-19 protocols. So as of right now, that's where Camel is scheduled to go, and we'll keep an eye on developments there. Continuing our look at games from week 4, you can't forget about Canfield. They weren't playing in the area, that's for sure. They made the big road trip over an hour and a half away to New Philadelphia, but boy, did they make the trip worth it. They absolutely dominated New Philly. A really good New Philadelphia team, by the way. You look at the 35-0, I believe was the final score. 4 turnovers on the night by the Canfield defense. Mike Crawford had a great day. You look at Brock Lowry. He had a great day. And we talked to Mike Pavlansky earlier this season on the show. And one of the things he brought up was this road trip. And he wanted this road trip specifically so his guys could get used to making long road trips and being able to handle the long road trips, because inevitably you're going to have to travel on the road a long way away in a deep playoff run. So they do that, and they did not look deterred by that road trip at all. You look at their defense, I think, was just – I know they scored 35 points. Their offense, that's what we expect. But Canfield's defense forcing 4 turnovers and holding a really good New Philadelphia offense to no points and pitching a shutout. Just a really impressive day for Canfield. You look at some other scores from week 4. Salem, once again, we talked how impressive they looked. We'll get a final score from that one. 41-0, dropping Akron Firestone. And they are averaging 47 points per game right now. They haven't been touched all season. I mean, Salem and West Branch, they haven't been anywhere close to what you would say challenged. It's just been impressive. McDonald going to Mineral Ridge. They got a big win. First win of the season over their rivals in Mineral Ridge. And don't get me wrong, this is a really important game for both teams, both communities. They get the 21-14 win over Mineral Ridge. Mark Bunch continued to have a great season. You don't want him overshadowed by the loss. 218 yards to the air, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. You look at McDonald, and it was the duo of Logan Hawk and Nathan Gilligan that did all the work for McDonald. They combined for 305 rushing yards, and they also combined for 3 touchdowns. And that was enough, obviously. 3 touchdowns, 21 points. Blue Devils defense did a good job containing Mineral Ridge, and they get their first win of the season on the road against a big rival. So we'll take a quick timeout, and on the other end, we will get ready to talk to Dana Ballish, the TV 21 sports director over at 21 WFMJ. Don't go anywhere. Monday edition Running Point brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Jimmy Sutton here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers, and we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, in cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen, we are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
My guy keeps it 100% of the time. He wants all 100, won't settle for 99. And it's more than stats, because there's people in those numbers. And I was one of the lost sheep. I'm so glad he cares for all 100. I'm 100% safe. 100% free, 100% love. I can be 100% me. He gave all 100 when they put him up on that tree. That's 100% passion for 100% free. So if I play in front of 100, or if I play in front of 2, there's an audience of 1 getting 100% of what I can do.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience, WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit wrswealth.com. Good luck, athletes.
Welcome back to Running Point live on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell, and on the fan line, we are joined by TV21 Sports Director Dana Ballas. Dana, thank you so much for calling in today, and it's been a minute. We're happy to hear from you.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
You know, we're here in week 4, going into week 5, almost halfway through the high school football season. What have been some of your biggest takeaways so far here in the first 4 weeks?
Well, I think you got to look at the undefeated teams. Ursuline's, averaging 40 points. South Range is averaging 40 points. Ursuline's defense, not sure where they're at right now. They're not that it's a surprise, but some of you question a little bit. Does Ursuline where's their defense at, because the opposition scoring 37 points a game. South Range just seems to be keep motoring, and they go to Poland this week, which should be an interesting game. I think Poland's a little upset the way they lost to Hubbard last week. So, from that standpoint, I think we've had 11 games involving area teams canceled because of COVID. So hopefully that stays where it is as we go into this week. Warren JFK won't play this week. It's not due to COVID. They just are going to play. We're supposed to play Fairport Harding, but Harding has some personnel or player issues when it comes to the number of players, so they're not going to play. But I think everything right now is status quo. I think, when we talked a month ago when the season started or before it started, who were the teams to watch, and I think that's kind of where we are, after 4 weeks. I don't think there's been surprises. I think if there's a surprise the other way, I think Mineral Ridge losing to McDonald was a little surprise this week. I saw McDonald a week earlier, and looks like they were really, really struggling. But Dan Williams was able to put it all together last Friday at Mineral Ridge, their biggest rival.
If I had to kind of give it a surprise, and I want to get your take on this too. West Branch was really good last year, but they're starting a new quarterback. But Drew DeShields comes in as a new quarterback, and he's looked very, very good as the West Branch offense looks almost as unstoppable as Salem's does. What do you think about the Warriors and what they've been able to put together this year?
Well, and again, when you have a new guy come in, you just don't know what to expect sometimes. And, so far so good for West Branch. I think part of it is, they had a system in last year, which I think really, really helped them. They're scoring some points, but again, not to take anything away from West Branch, but if you look at their first 4 opponents, and I can't remember them, offhand completely, but I don't think any of them right now have a winning record. I know they played East Liverpool in the opener and finished with Marlington. I think Revere was in there, and I can't remember the second team. But I don't think any of those teams have a winning record. So, those are teams you're supposed to beat. A little sterner test this week for West Branch as they, take on Canton South. But if, in the second half of West Branch's schedule, again, you look at it, they have 3 teams, starting, not this week, but next week in October. 3 of the final 5 don't have a winning record now. So, and I know it's the conference they play in and so on and so forth, but they're beating the teams they're supposed to play. Salem on the other side, again, after 4 weeks, haven't beaten a team with a winning record. Now I think Crestview and Beaver Local are both 2-2, who they opened up the season with. But again, they're putting points on the board. But again, that this will get you prepared for the postseason, and I think that's the key in all of this.
And this question coming from Ty, who with our format you wouldn't be able to hear him, but he wants to know, and this is a valid question because we haven't had a week yet. We haven't had a game canceled for COVID protocols. Good news is we haven't had a week that's been detrimentally, impacted, but still, every week we seem to get a new team that has it. Where are the alarm bells at? Where's your kind of threat level with with COVID-19 and what kind of impact it's going to have on the rest of the season?
Well, I think you just got to be smart with it. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to. Coaches and administrators and trainers. I mean, it's a common sense thing these days, and I think that's the key. I mean, if you look at the games that have been canceled, they've all been lower level, Division 6, Division 7 teams. Now, it's just those are smaller, communities. I mean, who knows? I mean, but some of your bigger institutions, Boardman, Harding, Fitch, Holland, Canfield, have had no issues. So I just think it's a common sense thing. I think, you got to be smart with it. I think coaches need to be smart with it. It's common sense, and that's what it comes. It's common sense for you. It's common sense for me, and certainly it's common sense for students as well, players.
How much do you think, because we saw it happen after the fair, how much do you think the Canfield Fair impacted, people getting it popping up a little bit more than the weeks before?
Well, I don't know that, but if you just look at this past week and, with the NFL, every stadium was packed. College football, I mean, I was at Michigan State for the YSU game. I mean, 70,000 people there, and no one had a mask on, so it's again, there's not one particular event, in my opinion. It's just where we are in the year. It's football season. I mean, it's the first time in 2 years stadiums are allowed to be packed, and just about every major college football game had a packed house, and no one was wearing masks. So I mean, it's so hard to say, what's going to happen down the road.
Do you see any possibilities of, in the last 5 weeks of the season, athletic directors, schools making the decision to go back to 15% capacity, or do you think that's still something that is a safety net and not really on the next step docket?
Well, again, I don't think schools are going to do that because they would be cutting their own throat financially. I mean, look, if it comes from the governor, then you have to abide by those rules in the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Again, it's a common sense thing. And again, I think all these questions that we're discussing are out of the control of, the Ohio High School Athletic Association. They're out of the control of athletic directors. It's more controlled by the governor. And, those are the things that I'm sure he's looking at or watching. There were 110,000 people at the Horseshoe in Columbus on Saturday. There were 110 at, the Big House in Michigan Saturday night. I just think we're, basically, it's, you got to take every week like it could be your last game. I mean, the way things are going, that would be the approach, and, just see what happens. But again, I don't know what the future holds. I don't think anybody knows where things are going to go. But I think, again, if you're proactive, then I think, that's what you have to be. You have to be proactive. You have to be, you have to avoid an issue by being proactive.
And as we venture into the regional side of things, not a great weekend for a regional sports fan. Ohio State lost to Oregon, and Cleveland fell just short in Kansas City. Are you worried about the Ohio State Buckeyes? Are you worried about Cleveland, or do you think both teams are going to be okay?
Well, again, I didn't see any of the Ohio State game because I was with YSU at Michigan State, so I really can't. I didn't see the game, and I know they threw a late interception. Defensively, I know there's a lot of questions. Look, they gave up, 28 to Minnesota, and now you give up 35 more. So I think there's a question defensively what they're doing. It's one game, and again, the way things work in college football with the playoff system, if you're going to lose early, and that's what Ohio State did. As far as the Browns, look, I didn't expect them to win the game yesterday. They showed I do think they're a very well coached team. I think Stefanski has taken this team to another level when it comes to coaching. I think he's the type of guy where it is just, he leaves no stone unturned. And, look, there's 16 more weeks for the Browns. And again, they had that in the grasp. Did Kansas City win the game, or did the Browns lose the game? And, when you have 3 turnovers and, you're never going to win the turn. You don't win games when you lose the turnover margin, but, it is what it is. You come back and again, this is a team you're supposed to beat in in Houston or in the Texans, and you take care of business. I mean, if you look at the Browns schedule, I mean, they weren't going to go undefeated. They weren't going to go 17-0. I thought they would lose to Kansas City. So you got to get better and move on.
Before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to just kind of promote what's going to be going on this week over there at 21 and what fans should be expecting across the week from your side of things in your programming.
Well, tonight, we have our Mark Porter talks about the Ursuline Irish and their high-powered offense. Tomorrow we'll have our downtown Avalon, high school football play of the week. We'll have some YSU stuff. Wednesday we'll get set for, the fall sports of what's going on. I mean, every day is just different. I mean, but we'll have our usual stuff throughout the week. We'll talk to DJ Yoakley, and that will air on Thursday. Then Friday gets set for another week of high school football for the midway point. So it's going very fast, and we'll see. I think we got a good slate of games coming up again this week. Some interesting battles. And you hope some of these teams who didn't play last week, Valley Christian and Brookfield, could get back on the field this week.
Dana, as always, thank you so much for joining us every week, and thank you for all the stuff WFMJ does for our partnership. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Have a great day.
That was Dana Ballish with 21 WFMJ, the sports director over there, and we love our partnership with them, and we love what they do for us, and we hope that we can do a lot for them in return. Ty, well, I know you can't really be a part of that conversation, and it's kind of awkward, but what were some of your takeaways from the things that Dana said and his takeaways from week 4?
Well, I think the biggest thing that he talked about too was the COVID situation still that's looming, and I mean, teams treating every game like it's their last, and I feel like that's the biggest takeaway I got for week 4 is you see a lot of these teams kind of just leaving everything out there on the field right now, and I mean that's the biggest thing we see is that they are treating every game like it's their last, almost like every game feels like it's senior night across the board because every single player is going out there giving it their all, especially the upperclassmen, knowing that, I mean, senior year, they don't know when it can be pulled out from under them, and they've seen it happen to their peers in the past, so they are going out there giving it their all and treating every game like it's their last, and you know what? It's treating us as some of the best football, I think, in the area we've seen in quite some time.
The last 2 weeks, but this week especially, has been loaded with really thrilling games. We got an overtime game in week 3. We got a couple of ones that almost went to overtime this week. We're starting to get really good football here. Right at the halfway point. He's right. It's going really fast.
It is. It's going really fast. And you know what? It always seems like it does too. You feel like it's a long season, but once you start rolling in it, man, I mean, Fridays start coming like there's no tomorrow. And before you know it, you're already in week 5. And before you know it, it's December and you're looking at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium at the 7 games for the championships.
Man, it's coming fast, and it's not here yet, but it's coming. I want to remind everybody as we continue our Monday edition, the comments section is live. We want to hear from you. The fan question today, Ty, you want to remind the people what the fan questions are today?
Yeah, our fan question of the day, because of all the finishes that we saw in week 4, the exciting finishes, the fan question of the day that we're still looking for responses for is, what is the most exciting high school football finish that you were present for? You have to be present for it. Run it through. Tell us what year, what game, what happened, but the most exciting finish that you've seen in high school football.
I have to go back in the memory banks for that one, because once again you're saying being present, and honestly I haven't been present for a high school football game in a while because I've been doing the audible call and doing stuff for YSN outside of the press box for football. So I go back to my high school days, and I think it was against Crestview, maybe my sophomore season, so that would be 2009, maybe. Anyway, because it was right before Crestview it was the season before Crestview started to dominate South Range. There was a stretch where Crestview won like 5 in a row, but before that, South Range won 5 in a row. But that 5th one for South Range in that stretch, it was like I wish I could remember. I know it was like a game-winning field goal, something like that. Something that gave Crestview momentum going into the next year. And obviously, the next year they won with a game-winning field goal, and then they won the next 5 straight after that. So it was a big rivalry when I was in high school, and I feel like I know that fifth game in a row for South Range, and Coach Higley probably shaking his head because I can't remember exactly the details. But I know that fifth win in a row over Crestview came down to the wire. It was a close one. It was an exciting one, and South Range won it close. And I know it gave Crestview that momentum to come in next year. They won off a game-winning field goal, and then they obviously dominated that series for the 5 years after that. But that was probably the best one that I've been to. And really, to be honest, I haven't been to too many games outside of South Range because, once again, after I was out of high school, my Fridays were either working for YSU volleyball and broadcasting their games or doing stuff here for YSN. So I haven't actually been present in a high school football game in quite a while, to be honest.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a lot of stories out there in the area, and that whether it's coming from the playing experience or just watching in the stands, I mean, everyone's at least been to one. I feel like if you went to any high school ever, I think you've been to at least one high school football game if they had the program and they prop it up like everywhere in this area certainly does. Everyone in northeastern Ohio has been to at least one, and there's been a fair share that I've seen that have had some incredible finishes too. And I mean, to take myself out of the press box a little bit and just go back from a fan perspective, because it's been a while since I've actually sat down and watched a high school football game as a fan and not as a broadcaster. And I mean, the one I think back to, I think I was a freshman at Fitch when they went 10-0 the one season, and I go back to when they beat Massillon Washington, and it was beating Massillon Washington, I believe, on a blocked extra point attempt that would have tied the game and sent it into overtime. And that was a huge win for us as we were in Division I for the first year, and going undefeated under Coach Anarella at the time was absolutely incredible too, and doing it against a lot of Division I opponents. But I mean, Massillon Washington was always that team we couldn't get off of our back, but being able to finally overcome them was huge.
Ty, as we venture on, we have our very first Big Dogs of the Valley results already been announced, but to talk about, DJ Williams wins the football one from Fitch. I mean, you've seen him plenty of times. What do you think makes DJ Williams so special and earns this week 1 Big Dogs of the Valley champion?
As we obviously hope to with the injury, we hope that he gets healthy and back on the field, because I would love to see him play some more games this season. But what makes him so effective, he's a perfect blend of power and speed. And the fact that he's doing it as only a sophomore, and that he has 2 more years of growth and development left under the system and under Coach Parker, and he's already making the noise that he has already to this point in his career. I think he had at least 1 rushing touchdown in that pass game. I can't remember the exact yardage he had, but I mean, effective too, sharing the ball with senior back Tyree Mitchell as well. So I mean, you do that, splitting the backs, or splitting the touches rather, and we saw what he did in Canton McKinley with the 3 touchdown game. That's why he won the Big Dogs of the Valley. But I mean, he's a huge piece of this Falcons offense, and he's going to be the back of the future, I think, for Fitch.
Yeah, over 23,000 votes total. That's total, not just for DJ, but total in that football voting poll. And we want to thank everyone for voting. The new Big Dogs will be announced shortly. The volleyball winner was Sammy Kelly out of Lowville, someone that, I was pleasantly surprised to see her get nominated and see her, put up stats enough to get nominated. And then, Lowville really showing up big for her and getting her the votes to win, because she was going up against some big names, Ty, in that poll. And she earned the win with the votes. And she's someone that I got to watch personally last week. Man, she just plays everywhere on the court. It was really what she does for that team. There aren't a lot of other players that do as much as she does. She sets when she's in the back row, so she gets her assists. She hits when she's in the front row, and she's a really good defender in the back row too. So she's already had 2 triple doubles on the season because she's not a liability anywhere on the floor. Her defense is really good. She can hit when she's in the front row, and then when she's in the back row, she's also a really good setter that gets the ball where it has to go. So Sammy Kelly, maybe one of the more versatile volleyball players in the area. She gets to week 1, Big Dogs. We're going to have her on the show at some point this week. We've talked to her, and we're just trying to nail down a time. But we're gonna talk to her. We're also gonna try to reach out to DJ. We would love to get him on the show as well. We love talking to these big dogs, and maybe this will be a thing every week where we try to get the big dog winners on to talk about their community and what it meant to them to kind of win this Big Dogs of the Valley.
Yeah, it would definitely be huge if we could. We're going to try to reach out and try to get him on the show. It would be definitely huge if weekly Big Dog winners, we can get them on the show and just interview them a little bit and talk about the performances and what got them the awards in the first place.
Yeah, this is fun. I love the Big Dogs because I love seeing the people. But we got so many questions on like Sunday. When's it going to be announced? When's it going to be announced? We voted so much. We're ready. I want to say the investment. That's the word I'm looking for. The investment these communities take in the voting and the pride they take and how much they vote and whether or not that's going to get them a win. It's real. This is one of the really fun things we do at YSN.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And we want to try to get the community involved in every corner that we can. And when we get the community coming in strong like that, 23,000 votes for just the football. And I know volleyball's number was way higher than even that. So, I mean, a combined vote total of probably way over 50,000 votes is absolutely an incredible turnout that these communities took that much and invested that much time into what these athletes and these student athletes were able to do over the course of a single week in their high school careers. It's really nice to see the communities coming out in such large numbers like that.
You ask and you will receive. The total for volleyball was 43,849. So over 43,000, almost 44,000. And then you add the two totals, that's about 68,000, give or take total between football and volleyball. Great turnout for everybody. Great turnout for the voting. We definitely appreciate it. We know the kids absolutely appreciate it. And we definitely know that Sammy Kelly and DJ Williams appreciate the push to get them winning. Now, I do want to remind people that if your nominee was on that list, did not win, they're definitely eligible to pop back on that list. So if they do and you see them and you want them to win, you just got to vote more. You got to push more. You got to raise the bar a little bit. And so don't be too disappointed if your favorite player didn't win last week. It doesn't mean they can't pop back up. And just remember if they do, you got to vote a little bit more. You got to raise that bar a little bit.
I think we could definitely get over the 100,000 threshold in votes too. 68,000 is very impressive too for our week one of the Big Dogs, but I know we can get way higher totals. So get out there and vote often because there's no limit on it.
Well, the goal, my goal, hopefully, is that every week we just beat last week's vote total. That'd be awesome. Every week, just whatever it is, the last week set the bar, and the next week, hey, let's go out there and outvote last week. And hey, if that gets really hard, then that means that someone's doing their job right. But we're excited to have another avenue to highlight these players and highlight the performances they put on. Once again, the new nominees will be released very shortly in the next day or two. And like always, voting will be up until Saturday at midnight and then released Sunday. We around 5-ish is when we release the final results.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing the next slew of announcements for week 2 of the Big Dogs of the Valley for the voting and just seeing the performances. I kind of have an idea of who might be on that list, but I'm excited to see who the final tally.
You think you know?
I think I might know a couple names. We'll wait though. We'll wait until it's announced too. Stay tuned to ysnlive.com.
I'll tell you, there were a lot of really great performances in the last week. It was hard to narrow it down. So there's a lot of names on this list, and we'll release those very, very shortly. Gonna talk about Saturday because there was a Saturday game. Mooney still trying to find it. I mean, it's there. They're making plays. Just can't get over that hump and make the winning plays. They dropped the game to Lindsley from West Virginia, 35-21. And, we talked about Cardinal Mooney last week. They're going to be okay. Their program isn't dead by any stretch of the imagination, but it's one of those valleys right now they're in that they have to try to get themselves out of.
Yeah, and you know what? There's a lot of drama, not football related, that's surrounding Mooney right now. That is not helping the situation at all.
We don't talk about that, but we, it would be kind of, we know what's going on. We know it's
You have to address the elephant in the room, and that's obviously having a lot of impact on the team. And you got to figure on the emotional status and just where the team feels like they fit in and everything right now. And I think it's just a case of trying to get back on track and get back to what Mooney football is, and get back to that tradition of just winning and playing their style of game. And I think they're starting to get back to it now, but still just kind of a learning curve they're going through right now, trying to figure out everything with some midseason curveballs being thrown their way.
And I will say for Mooney, pop back on real quick. Welcome to Monday. Devontae Miller is just still putting together a really strong season. He's got great open field speed. I don't know if you got a chance to watch that game at all on Saturday, but there were a couple of plays where he got some space and it looked like his strides were like 4 yards apiece. Like he took 3 steps to get 5 yards. Man, if he gets space, it's really hard to catch up with this kid.
Yeah, and you want to try to utilize him a little bit more, and just trying to get him more looks, I think, would be the overall goal of Mooney. I mean, we know Mooney never traditionally has been a pass-first type of team. Under Coach Butchie for years, they always ran a 2 tight end or at least a single tight end set, and the tight ends are usually the ones that would get even any pass looks if they did at all, because they were such a run-heavy team, and they still kind of go back to that style. But, I mean, you talk about getting those guys, getting your best guys the ball in open field and in open space. That might be what you need to look to do to try to generate some sort of offense in Mooney, and try to generate early offense, and then try to just hang your hat on the defense.
I can't. Anytime someone says wide open space for football, because of DJ in the audible call, I can't get Dixie Chicks out of my mind, because every time he would say wide open spaces, cue up the Dixie Chicks, and it's like now I can't get that song out of my head anytime someone says it. So
I'm gonna just be blaring it during Friday nights with the audible call.
It's gonna be the new theme song for audible call. We're reaching out to the Dixie Chicks now for copyright.
I have Mike Ackelson smiling face there. I'm sure they'll sign on then if we got Mike in the meeting with us.
I love it. Ty, it doesn't get any easier for Mooney. They go to Austintown Fitch next week. Obviously, you'll be on the call for that. Mooney, I mean, what do they do? They got to find a way to bounce back somehow. I feel like because of what kind of game this is and because of the program Mooney is, I'm still not saying this is going to be a blowout or something. I feel like despite all the stuff we've seen, this is going to be a competitive game.
Yeah, it'll be a competitive game, because anytime you go Fitch and Mooney together, you know something's bound to happen, and especially too Mooney plays every team tough, no matter who or what kind of year they're having. But I mean, Fitch, you got to imagine after the way they lost to Ursuline in the fashion they do, Coach Parker, first regular season loss of his coaching career too, he's going to have his guys ready to go, and you know that these guys, not having suffered a regular season loss last season, having to get back to it now after a big loss to Ursuline, one that they thought that they should have came out victorious. Falcons have to be upset going into this one, but you got to imagine Mooney's also upset, so something's got to give.
A couple of volleyball scores on Saturday to update you with real quick before we move into the final half an hour of the show. Crestview, they missed their match on Thursday because of COVID. They got right back to it on Saturday, and they dominated Salem in 3 sets, 25-8, no, 25-5, 25-14, 25-8 against the Salem team that we know pretty well, and we know is a quality team. Crestview just went right through them. Lucy Montgomery, triple-double for her, 10 kills, 11 assists, 13 digs. Grace Hauer continues her great season as well. 11 assists, 7 kills, 9 digs. Abby M, 7 kills, 4 blocks. Shelby Rambo, 6 kills, 3 blocks. Very balanced Crestview team way too much for Salem on Saturday.
Yeah, that Crestview team is going to be one of those teams you look at going forward this season, and you know that they're going to be an issue too. And we talked about the Emsch family and shining through yet again, and she's going to be something special. And you know the Crestview program's looking forward to it.
Freshman is just putting it together a show. Crestview will host LeBray on Tuesday. Salem goes to Mooney tonight. I'll be there for that game, so it will be on ysnlive.com. Columbiana, they got a really strong win over Lordstown, and it was a dominating one, 25-6, 25-12, 25-7. Tori Long got a very unique double-double, one that you don't usually see a lot. 16 aces, 10 digs for her. Julia Rapp led the offense with 9 kills, and she also added 3 aces and a pair of blocks. Cameron Perkins, who is doing a good job setting for the Clippers this year, 7 assists and a pair of kills for her. So Columbiana continues to roll. They will host Warren JFK tonight in non-conference action for the Clippers. You'll look at a very interesting tri-match at West Branch over the weekend. 3 very quality teams in Crestwood, West Branch, and East Liverpool squared up with each other. And West Branch swept the tri-match. So they are still undefeated at 8-0. Volleyball team looking just as impressive as their football team. They beat East Liverpool 2-1. And look at these set scores for you in the East Liverpool game. 25-22, East Liverpool took the first set. Now, remind you that the tri-matches are best 2 out of 3. And then in set 2, West Branch returned the favor 25-22. And then won set 3, 26-24. So a knockdown, drag-out match between those two. And then West Branch beat Crestwood in 2. But they were 2 very competitive sets against Crestwood. The final scores there, 25-21, 25-19. East Liverpool beat Crestwood in 2 as well. So East Liverpool splits that matchup. West Branch stays undefeated. They sweep it, and they are 8-0. They play Minerva. No, they're at Canton South on Tuesday. So Canton South and Minerva this week for West Branch as they look to continue to roll. We haven't really talked too much about West Branch yet, but they're a volleyball team a little bit under the radar, and they are undefeated 8-0.
Yeah, and that's impressive too, especially going into tri-matches when it's best 2 out of 3. Very easy to lose a match then in that case, because someone can easily sneak 2 off of anybody too. So I mean, for West Branch to be as successful as they are and continuing to roll, having not only a successful football season but a successful volleyball season, everything seemingly coming together over there in West Branch.
Especially after dropping that first set to East Liverpool. I mean, you drop 1 set in a tri-match. Oh man, you have to win 2 in a row or you're done. And they did it. They did it against quality teams. So they looked impressive, and they continue to look impressive. We'll take a quick timeout, and we'll be back with the last half an hour of Running Point on a Monday edition, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Aaron Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
Coca's Pizza, proud to announce our pizza buffet is back every Wednesday at our Boardman and Campfield locations. Adults only $7.99 and kids only $4.99, and $2 beer starting at 8 o'clock. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
Every customer has a story, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
It's a new year at Acura of Boardman and Boardman Mitsubishi with huge savings on over 350 fully inspected vehicles. We have cars, trucks, SUVs, minivans, and work vehicles. We don't have it, our team will find it. We aim for 100% credit approval with payments as low as $99 per month. And as always, we'll pay top dollar for your trade. For a great vehicle and a great experience, come see why everyone is stopping by at Acura of Boardman and Boardman Mitsubishi.
60 years ago, Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods began with 3 siblings, a hand-set sawmill, and a few local orders. And while business has certainly changed over the years, what has not are our principles of hard work, craftsmanship, and commitment to quality. At Baird Brothers, we're proud to put our name on the products we create, from moldings and doors to flooring and lumber. Thank you for 60 great years. We look forward to 60 more. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
You're looking to your future, preparing for your goals, and they're closer than you think. Because here, success is part of the plan. It's a place where academic and social opportunities are meant to prepare you for life, not just the next 4 years. You'll be equipped to face new challenges and turn hard work into a career. You're ready for your success to take root. And here's where it starts. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford. Choose a new Ford or from our great selection of pre-owned vehicles. Plus, you'll get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours. Customer-focused, community-driven. Tri-State Ford, East Liverpool, or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to the Monday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartel. I want to remind everybody that the comments section brought to you by Boardman Mitsubishi live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. And the fan question today for you guys is, what's the best high school football finish you've been present for? We saw a lot of good ones back in week 4. Also, we want to know, just your takeaways of week 4 as well. Who were the best performers? Who were the athletes that caught your eye, and who were the teams that you were rooting for and did well in your perspective? We'd love to hear from you. So once again, the comment section live. Also, fan line available. 330-886-0813 is the number to reach us. We'd love to hear from you that way too, if you'd like to call us. Ty, we've talked some volleyball, we've talked some football, but there are a couple of really good soccer teams on both sides, girls and boys, that are looking forward to really big weeks this week. And you start with the boys' side. No shocker, Howland is undefeated. They're unscored upon. But this week, they play Mooney on Thursday. And, of course, Mooney, Division III state runner-ups. So that'll be a big test for Howland. And then on Saturday, they go to Ontario. So really big week for a Howland team that has been really impressive this season so far. Undefeated, unscored upon, 5-0, but 2 big games on the slate this week.
Yeah, that Mooney matchup's definitely going to be a huge one. That two YSN schools going at it. I think you can't get any better area soccer with two teams under the YSN banner other than that one, as it's going to be a great matchup, I think, for sure.
And Mooney coming off a game where they just want to wash out. That WRA game did not go the way they wanted it to. And so Howland is going to be playing a very motivated Mooney team on Thursday. That'll be at Howland, 7 o'clock. But then you go to the girls' side, another very impressive team in Canfield, 6-0. They've only been scored upon once, and that was a 9-1 game against Mooney. I mean, they haven't been touched. They haven't been tested. But this week, they have Notre Dame Cathedral Latin tonight, and they have Boardman on Wednesday and West Branch on Saturday. We know what Boardman's been doing all year. They've looked impressive. West Branch has looked impressive. And then Notre Dame Cathedral Latin, they don't need any kind of introduction. Big 3 games on the docket for Canfield girls soccer.
Yeah, it's Canfield looking really good too, and you hope that defense is as good as it's been up until this point. I mean, no one really scoring on Canfield at all, like you said, except for one goal that was in a blowout victory for them. So curious to see if they could keep it up going forward with 3 huge games against 3 very versatile offenses.
You look on the boys' side, another undefeated team, Poland, 6-0-1. They have tied once, and this week coming up, they have Hubbard on Tuesday, Niles on Thursday. They're staying in the league. They've only given up 2 goals this year, and they were both to Boardman in the 2-2 tie where they came back from 2-0 down at halftime and tied it 2-2. So Poland, I mean, they're on a collision course, both Division II teams with Howland, both undefeated. And the very exciting, very exciting. And we talked to Brian Garkar earlier this season on the show. Poland's a unique team because they did lose so many seniors last year, but they also have so many seniors this year. Not too many times you see that kind of turnaround with leadership.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the mark of a good program, and both Howland and Poland have some of the best programs in the area, and that looks like that's exactly what we're going to be on a collision course set up for, is the Poland Bulldogs and the Howland Tigers having a late season matchup, and one that is going to have very, very high stakes involved, I think, by that time.
We've also talked to Boardman's boys head coach Eric Simeon earlier this season. They are undefeated, 5-0-1, and they are looking at Canfield this week on Thursday, just 1 game this week. Man, they're going well too. 5 undefeated teams actually in the area in soccer, because Ursuline's 4-0-1 and Crestview is 5-0-0. So a lot of good boys soccer in the area this year. Crestview with that big win over Jackson Milton last week. Both teams were undefeated. Crestview got the win there. This week, Crestview has Middle Ridge on Tuesday, Badger on Thursday, Ursuline on Saturday. So look at that, Saturday, Ursuline versus Crestview. If both teams take care of business the earlier in the week, they could both be undefeated by that. You look at Ursuline, they have KFK on Monday. They have Columbiana on Tuesday and Crestview on Saturday. So, if both teams take care of business this week, it could be a matchup between 2 undefeated teams on Saturday between Ursuline and Crestview.
And that would be a huge, huge matchup for them. As we have a question, though, coming in from DJ Waller, asking us how we feel about the Canfield versus Cheney football game coming up.
Thank you, DJ. That's a great comment brought to you by Boardman Mitsubishi. Ty, I mean, what do you think about it? Canfield looks so impressive this week on the road at New Philadelphia, and Cheney's putting together something special. We know that they look just as good the last 2 weeks as anybody. What do you think about this matchup?
I mean, honestly, what I think about the matchup, I mean, first off, Canfield doing exactly what I thought Canfield was gonna start out the season, or start responding wise to New Philadelphia. I said that they were going to win by at least 2 to 3 scores, and they did just that. Their defense came in huge.
You weren't wrong.
And Canfield did exactly what they needed to do. But Cheney, on the other hand, you kind of remove that first week against Fitch out of your mind, because Hewlett goes down. Everything that went wrong could go wrong. They come up close, so close to beating a very talented, very good Boardman team. And I mean, so close. Still with Andy Galt at quarterback, still trying to learn some things under center, because you got to remember, thrown into it, these last 2 weeks, they figured some things out. Big win over Cardinal Mooney, big win over St. Charles, combined 44-10, outscoring their opponents in these 2 games. I mean, defense has been huge, and that's the biggest thing with Cheney. They have athletes on this team. They are loaded top to bottom with athletes that are big, physical, strong, and fast, and they are going to get to the ball quickly, and they're going to capitalize on mistakes. But Canfield has the unique ability to throw the ball over the top. But the interesting thing is Andy Galt, we've seen, has kind of that ability too. Very good in the pocket, very good passer too when he needs to be, and he's learning and getting better each and every week. I think this is a matchup where, Cheney, I think, comes in as the underdog, obviously, to a Canfield team that was very impressive last year. But I think it's a Canfield team that is not in the slightest taking Cheney as a pushover team coming into this. They know it's going to be physical. It's going to be a battle in the trenches through and through, and they know how physical this Cowboy team is going to be, and it's not going to be a pushover victory. They're going to have to go through a war to win it.
Very interesting, because, and of course, we'll talk about it more as the week goes on, but both teams know how to score, obviously. 35-0. Cheney's been 44 points in the last 2 weeks. But both defenses are really strong. Something's got to give, right? And football teaches you 9 times out of 10, the really good defense, especially at this level, is going to hold down really good offenses. We saw that in Garrettsville Garfield. Might be a low-scoring game despite the success that offenses have had the last couple of weeks on both sides.
Yeah, and I mean, Clive Wilson on one side for Cheney, Toby Smith on the other side for Canfield. Big defensive linemen on both sides. Both defenses are very good. Cheney winning 22-7 against Mooney 2 weeks ago, 22-3 against St. Charles this past week. So you're looking at a team that's allowed a touchdown and then a field goal prior, like a team that has only allowed 1 score against their opponents in 2 previous weeks. The defense that is tough to score against when they are motivated and when they have the momentum in their court. And I tell you what, they have an offensive piece in Andy Galt, and they have some weapons there too, J.R. Tellington and Jace Austin DeMille in the backfield too, that Cheney, they have enough on offense, and their defense is really good that they could stop a lot of teams in this area.
I got to watch the tape of the Mooney game. Didn't really get to see the St. St. Charles?
Yeah, St. Charles game.
Charles game. I didn't get to watch that one. But when I watched that Mooney game, I was thinking to myself, and stay with me here, this team reminds me a lot of last year's Crestview team that lost week 1 against Champion. And then the rest of the season, even in week 10, even in the playoffs, they just had this anger, like rage, like they were still disrespected from losing week 1. Like that was never going to happen to them again. I feel like Cheney is playing that way. Like you look at their film, they're just kind of nasty a little bit. They're hitting people harder. They're making sure they're taking care of business. They're playing like an angry football team, not because, obviously everything that went wrong could have went wrong against Fitch, and they know that. It's almost like they're playing against the universe, because they're saying, universe, how dare you put us in this situation? We're going to show you some stuff. They just look like an angry football team. And that's what I thought about Crestview last year. Throughout their whole season, they looked angry every time they played after that loss to Champion in week 1. Cheney looks angry the last couple of times we've seen him out.
I think so too, and you got to credit Coach Emil through and through with that too. I mean, Coach Emil does a great job of getting his guys ready week in and week out. And that week 1 game too, where everything went wrong for them, they were upset about that because they knew, and I think they all felt everyone was taking them serious again, and that was their big test. And they feel like they kind of blew it a little bit. And then coming in against next week, where they have that immediate chance to respond again, and coming so close to beating a Boardman team, but coming up just shy, they feel like they were disrespected too. And I think you've seen that too in the way the defenses has played too, to where they are so disrespected. They're saying, you're not even going to score on us because we aren't even taking the chance at you beating us. And a couple of Division III teams, Canfield and Cheney wants that respect. I tell you what, you beat this Canfield team, you're going to earn a lot of respect in the area really quick.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to that. We want to take the time to remind everybody we're out at 2 today, and we want to preview that casual sports podcast with Alec Caberna and Matt Morrison that's coming up from 2 to 3. Going to be a great show. we're happy to kind of make room for them here in the YSN family. Happy to hear their voices, and you'll be hearing that in about 10 minutes, Alec and Matt, for their debut of the Casual Sports Podcast on ysnlive.com.
Yeah, we're excited for it too, bringing in new voices, a new show, and a new era of ysnlive.com as we just keep on adding shows, keep on adding content, and things for you for the fans to watch on the network too. So excited to have this new show and have a couple of new voices hop on too on board for it. So
absolutely, we are so stoked for their debut today. Make sure to check them out and check out their Twitter too. They had the Casual Podcast Twitter. And each of them have their own Twitter accounts as well. So make sure to follow them and give them some love as they debut today. As you're looking for us as we wrap up this show, really quickly, we just want to take in week 1 of NFL football. And obviously start with local. The Browns, and I'm a Chiefs fan, so trying to be as unbiased as possible. Baker played the game of his life. You got to feel like the Browns played almost as good as they could for 3.5 quarters. And then I feel like when Mahomes hit that big throw, everything just changed. It just went whoop. And even though the Chiefs didn't lead after that, I feel like the Browns just kind of felt tight, and they couldn't overcome the comeback.
It's a team that I think the Browns will be just fine, though. They're going to learn some things. Defense looked really good at points. It's a defense, though, that doesn't have a whole lot of chemistry together. A lot of new pieces added in. I think as that gets built, they're going to become stronger. But that Browns offense against that Kansas City defense, granted, Tyrann Mathieu was not playing, but, I mean, looked really good against – it was a really good Kansas City defense, and a defense that had their improvements, too. Took them a little bit to get going. And I mean, if the Browns offense is doing that to Kansas City's defense, and if their defense was keeping up with Patty Mahomes like that, not everyone can do what Patrick Mahomes could do in the league. Not everyone's going to do these sidearm throws and has the escapability. So the Browns, I wouldn't worry about your season. You're going to have success against a lot of football teams because not every quarterback you face is Patrick Mahomes. So,
and I saw a lot of hate on that interception. Let me tell you, 9 times out of 10, that thing is going to the third row. He was trying to throw it away. He said that in his press conference. It was going to go to the third row. The Chiefs linebacker came off his block, tripped him up, and took off that throw. But he wasn't trying to get it to that receiver.
Unfortunate. No, it wasn't a forced drive. And you know what? The Chiefs came away with a big break, and that's a huge defensive play to trip him up because you don't know if he throws that away. They were driving. The Browns were getting yards on Kansas City. They could have very easily gotten themselves in position to score. They needed a touchdown, obviously, but you definitely thought they could have put themselves in better position. But, you look at it as a learning experience, and any loss is a bad loss, but you compare that to how the Browns have started in years prior. You went up against the Super Bowl runner-up, and you almost came away with a win in Arrowhead.
I really like the press conferences. Both Baker Mayfield and Stefanski both said, we played really well, but at the end it doesn't matter because we didn't execute when it mattered the most. And that's just real. That's just reality. I mean, the next step for the Browns and for Cleveland to be a Super Bowl contender is making those winning plays against the elite teams. And I think Stefanski and Baker Mayfield were both very transparent with that. And I liked both press conferences.
To be the best, you got to beat the best. But I tell you what, as good as Kansas City is, and they're going to be a contender, I don't think Kansas City wants to face this Browns team a third time in as many games because you come off of that win last year where they ended the Browns season. It's very tough to win against a team when you have to face them that many times.
At the same point, you look at the Chiefs, from their point of view, they didn't play a perfect game. They didn't look great.
Offensive line has a lot of questions, I think, going forward too.
They didn't really do well in the red zone. They settled for 2 field goals. Their defense wasn't what. Granted, without Tyrann Mathieu, without Frank Clark, understandable, but still, those two aren't run stoppers, and they're not going to really be huge help in the run game because Frank Clark's coming off the edge, and Tyrann Mathieu, he's used a little bit to come in the box, but not a whole lot. So that run defense, it's been a problem for Kansas City for years. And, teams are going to start to understand that. The other thing that really bothers me about the Chiefs, and I'll just say this and then we'll move on, they still can't run the ball efficiently when teams are playing the pass. And I don't know if that's a running back problem, if that's an offensive line problem, whatever it is. When they're playing two deep high safeties and we can't run the ball for more than 3 yards, I feel like that's an issue. I feel like we have to be able to run the ball to make defenses bring those safeties up, and then we can get big plays. So,
well, yeah, I mean, Patty Mahomes needs to be able, and he can't fall into a one-dimensional, because I mean, as special as he is, a lot of teams can game plan if you're just having the pass. If you can't respect the run, any team
to my point, in that second half, the Chiefs ran the ball a little bit better and more consistent.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
it opens things up when you're a multi-dimensional offense, for sure.
We're in a fantasy league together. I won week 1. Well, all but one. There's still one game left, but I'm up by like 30 points or something. Kyler Murray had a great day for me.
He did.
Oh man, did he ever? The whole NFC West looked dominant. I don't know who's going to win that division after week 1. They all look good. The Eagles looked better than I thought they would.
Devonta Smith looks real good.
And I'll tell you, the Packers just pooped on themselves.
The Saints defense looked phenomenal. They looked phenomenal yesterday. And I tell you what, if Jameis Winston, if that eye surgery did anything, man, it opened his eyes wide open, because he got 5 touchdowns the other day. And if that's a Jameis Winston we're looking forward to the rest of the season, boy, oh boy, Saints might be serious contenders.
It's 5 touchdowns, 0 picks. That's the most important thing.
Huge.
Packers just looked bad. Aaron Rodgers just looked bad. It's one game.
I wonder if he's doing it intentionally. Like, trade me now. You're going to trade me then?
I hope not. But, Russell Wilson, the Seahawks finally let him just go. He dropped the 70-yard dime to Tyler Lockett. That was just probably the best throw of the weekend. Just like right on the money, 70 yards down the field. Impressive. Seahawks are going to be real. I love that whole NFC West. I think it's going to be fun.
It's going to be competitive for sure, especially with Matt Stafford in the mix now. You never know what's going to happen. And, Trey Lance is looming.
Real quick, we'll go through what we're going to be, what to look forward to tonight, either on the network or as a fan. If you want to go out to a game, you look at, I will be at Cardinal Mooney for their volleyball game. They are hosting Salem. And you look at the rest of the schedule. Cambion will be at Poland. Their school will be taking care of that. Their Huddle Cam will have it. Other volleyball games going on throughout the day today. Brookfield is hosting Ashtabula St. John. East was going to Liberty. Valley Christian going to Camel. Most of these volleyball teams play on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Monday, kind of a slow day for volleyball. But we do have several soccer games. Brookfield at Garrettsville Garfield. That's a girls' game. Champion at Waterloo, girls' game. Valley Christian at Warren JFK is a co-ed. Maplewood versus Ursuline, girls' game. Boardman at Austintown Fitch, girls' game. Hubbard at Poland is a girls' game. Struthers versus South Range as well. So a lot of fun games. Get out and support some of these athletes. Stay tuned. 2 to 3 casual sports podcast coming up next on ysnlive.com. We're back tomorrow, 12 to 2. Coach Ferrando of the Moody volleyball team will be joining us tomorrow around 12:40. So be excited for that. We'll be back tomorrow, 12 to 2.